of misunderstanding that people in the political age in which we live want to jump to never ceases to amaze me. I should be accustomed to it by now. I really should. But every once in a while, it sort of takes my breath away. And it's happening again on the Sophie situation. My position isn't in attacking Sophie Cunningham taking a position on this issue. I have applauded, frankly, her courage in taking the position she has. What I'm saying is, once you take it, no matter when you first said it, you can't act surprised if people are going to want to ask you about it for, I don't know, let's be conservative, 72 hours after it becomes a thing. Two completely different things, but the assumption is you must be ripping Sophie because you disagree with her. No! I'm saying once it's out and becomes as big as it is, to complain that people are still asking about it is, for me, very disingenuous. It's as simple as that. It really shouldn't be, I wouldn't think, that complicated to figure out. And I'll give you another example of this. Where's the... This is from 612, guy or gal. It's astounding in 2026 that we're debating whether men should be allowed to play in women's sports. You and your buddy Cheryl Reeve are on the wrong side of this insanity. So again, 612 guy needs me to be the on-air boogeyman. So his assumption is that Cheryl Reeve and I are on the same side, whatever that even means. Because otherwise, he can't be mad at me. He wants to take the shot, and that's just at Cheryl, but at me. How many times have I attempted to state my position, which is the Olympic approach on who plays and who doesn't is, I believe, the right approach. Now, Cheryl has not technically, she kind of equivocated on the answer about the higher you get up the food chain on athletics, about who you're going to let in and who you're not. Right. But she has not been as precise as I'm attempting to be right now. So, again, at least you don't have to agree ever with anybody on this show, but at least have the decency to rip us for things we have said, not for things you've assumed we've said or a position we've taken. Trust me, I've gotten plenty of emails over the last 2 years we've discussed this issue. I've been called transphobic over and over again. I've been told, you're not an expert on this. You need to get an expert in on this subject. Why are you even talking about it? So now we have somebody, though, who's making the assumption that, well, I think everybody should be allowed to play at every level. So at least do the homework, I think, a little bit, is what I would say. I had another one here. By the way, this is hour number 2 of the Bumper to Bumper program.
Starting to get some QB tweets.
Oh, good. Can you give us a hint on which direction it's going right now for today?
The newcomer looks to be expanding his lead, according to one reporter.
Expanding his lead.
Yeah.
So you had him ahead. And
well,
now
I think we all assume they all have him ahead.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it seems like it's going well for him.
To compare Denny Green releasing a book, which is an intentional act, to Sophie Cunningham answering a question from a reporter 2 weeks ago is disingenuous on your part. Sophie did not stand up and say, hey, everybody, I'm going to share with you my position on trans people. Please don't get offended. She was asked a question. She answered. Everybody lost their bleep. I'm not responding to what everybody lost. What I am saying is Sophie Cunningham understands how, more than most, how the media works in 2026. If you answer the question, which I've given her credit for, especially, what week was it we said? There was the thing about, the headline was, she's doubling down, almost as if, well, her obligation, as soon as she got some heat, was to curl up in the fetal position and to do a full pelf. I lauded her for that. But what I'm saying is, it's such a big story that to then complain this few days after, man, there's so much good stuff going on in basketball, and I just answered a question. If you answer the question, which you have every right to do, then you cannot be shocked or surprised that, as I said, the Jackals are going to stay with it maybe for more than 4 hours. That's the only point I'm attempting to make there.
And that story ran July 21st. So,
okay, so do the math. I mean, we're a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And part of what gives it another life is the next game, you're going to another city.
Exactly right.
And then the reporters are going to ask. I've said this before earlier in the show, she has every right at some point to say, guys and gals, I've stated my case. I'm ready. My team's probably ready for me to move on. I'm not changing my opinion, and I hope it's a conversation we can continue to have. But I don't want to give it any more oxygen right now. That's not me running from it.
Right.
That's me saying I've had several opportunities to answer questions, and this is sort of where I am at that. I don't think that's unreasonable. Because
I agree.
It will die down on that basis. Now someone else will probably pick it up, and it'll be probably somebody ripping her for a position, and then they're gonna go back to Sophie and say, hey, so-and-so said you're not thinking about inclusivity with your position, right? And then it could go on from there. I think that's sort of the point of it. I had one other one I wanted to get to. Where did it go? Where is it? Afternoon Aardvark, Sultan of Snarks, see you at the ballpark, Wolves in 5. Okay. That's okay. I mean, we got a lot of, we got some decent ones so far. I think we've got ones maybe that have caught the attention of the bosses who make ultimately a decision on which direction we go.
Yeah, I think it's been a good thought exercise.
Yeah. Good morning show hurt my side. PA likes the funky jive. Common wants to shoot a 75. Dan takes us home on the ride. Wolves in 5.
Got to be pretty big shirt. Big shirts.
I don't think Sophie is backing away from anything. She's just stating that there are other talking points like the game of basketball the reporters can focus on more than these side topics. I would say respectfully to that person, 612 guy, I didn't say she was backing away from anything. I'm saying I don't buy her complaint. And the truth is, go back and read a number of stories. For example, the matchup, Fever, the two highest scoring teams, two hottest teams in the league, the game you went to Sunday afternoon. There have been endless stories and endless celebrations of what that game might represent, how the Stars played, obviously how Olivia Miles played, etc. So the idea that there has been almost like, well, was there a game story in that game? Well, yeah, there was quite a bit and a lot discussed about that game too. So, in fact, well, let's do bonus bucks. Get a pause in. Did you find the sound I was looking for?
Sure did.
There is some interesting. I always like getting national voices in terms of what they see about stuff that we've been celebrating around here for quite some time, especially when they are the articulate voices of a couple people we've quoted from before who have their own national NBA pro basketball radio show. We'll do that in a minute, but first...
TheFan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. The 4 o'clock keyword today is check. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword check.
We are back. The 4 o'clock hour continues. Don't forget, Kessler in studio at about 5:30 this evening. We're back at TCO Performance Center for a Friday extravaganza. So, according to the tweets early, lead is widening. This is supposed to be the second serious practice day where we might get a decent look at the two principals in the quarterback derby, correct?
That's
and day one, neither looked finished. The day we were last out there, the first time we've been out there this year, neither of them looked particularly good, especially late. Nobody could complete a pass. Looked like our defense dominated. So far today, is there actual, description of JJ as struggling, or is it more Kyler's making a lot of plays?
It's more, from what I've seen, it's just Kyler.
Okay.
I'll just read you. Alec Lewis. These tweets are 6 minutes apart. 35 minutes ago. And one of them, I think, you have to take all of it with a huge grain of salt. I don't even know why I do the disclaimer. Kyler Murray just threw a nice long bomb to wide receiver Jawan Jennings on a crossover in 7-on-7.
Boom.
Listen to this. This is vintage Alec. One of the more commendable throws of camp thus far.
Man.
6 minutes later, another Kyler Murray long bomb to wide receiver Ty Felton, who continues to look great. Believe that was second offense versus first defense. So then I go to the others. Gessling didn't have any. Seifert retweeted the second Alec Lewis tweet that said it was second O versus 1D. Felton got behind safeties Jay Ward and Josh Metellus. Two pretty good players.
Yeah, that's true.
Kyler saw over the line of scrimmage and found him.
Is JJ doing anything? Does he having any reps? I
haven't seen anybody tweet about it, but that doesn't mean that they haven't. Just in the ones that I followed here. So we'll have to keep looking.
Vikings suffer quarterback grief. Some hotel has Lavelle's briefs. Kessler fights for his Oprah beliefs. Then takes State Fair cookies from random buckets like a thief. Wilson Fine. That's a lot of words, but very.
It's true. He does like the cookies.
But very funny, isn't it?
He does like the cookies.
612 guy or gal. Is it possible to respect her, as in Sophie Cunningham, her beliefs, maybe even agree with her without being associated with President Trump? I know I asked that yesterday, and I think I answered it yesterday, and I answered it in the affirmative. Yes. I absolutely think it's possible to respect her and maybe even agree with her without being associated with President Trump. I went down this road pretty hard yesterday. That's part of the problem with any of our debating, is how many people won't associate with the Cunningham position because they associate it with the far right or the president. Let's remember something. What Sophie Cunningham is articulating, almost every major poll in America says 60 to 70, upwards between 60 and 80% of Americans polled agree with her. For the record, I mean, it's not all. It's in that sense, it's not a radical position. It has implications, certainly, depending on how high or low you're going up the food chain. But I think part of the reason it's been this slow process to get to a place where Sophie Cunningham isn't likely to be canceled, like I think she might have been with that position several years ago, is the fear of what bad guys are going to do something with it, who really aren't all that interested in could not care less about the WNBA or women's sports at all. That part is, I think, all true. Where else do we have here? 7-on-7, there's no O-line, nothing for Kyler to look over. Wow.
Yeah, but I was talking about the second one.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe not. Maybe that was 7-on-7 too. I'm not sure. Must have been.
Well, it is a problem. We've talked about this. That it's the odd nature of the way training camps have evolved over the last certainly 10 years, right? Because the conventional wisdom in the NFL, and KOC alluded to it with us on Monday, is that you simply cannot afford to play your major players major parts of preseason games. Now, he didn't say they weren't going to play at all, but major parts of preseason games. So then you say, oh, that's not, okay, well, I get it. I understand from an injury standpoint. So then, I see, you'll get a much better look in practice. And then you say, well, which practice? 7-on-7 against air? Where are the practices where the defense can actually hurt people? Do those take place? Does it literally come down to is it 2 days of joint scrimmaging that we do? Who are we doing it with this year? I don't even remember.
The Ravens, right?
It is, to me, part of what's becoming challenging I would think for teams, let alone media jackals, to evaluate in this sort of situation, let's say at the quarterback position, right? Because you go, well, when can you get a good dress rehearsal look at really what we're capable of doing with a defensive line that's using all of its tricks? And in B-Flow, allegedly, there's a bunch of them, right? And it's coming after us, trying to confuse our front, the whole bit. Quarterback is not all that protected. He can take a lick, he can take a hit. Well, I don't even think that. I mean, that literally is forbidden in practice now, correct? And we all know why.
Right.
But I've always felt it makes it harder to know when some of those highlights look good. Well, was there someone coming at him? I mean, was there? We've had situations where we've been told, yeah, the pass was completed, but if the defense was allowed to go all out and hit the quarterback, he might not even gotten the ball off. So is that really a completion, even if it was a good play? I don't know. I don't know how they evaluate. It seems to be every sport has become more and more of caution and less is more. But when you have established players, I think I might understand it. But when you have a situation like this, where you have one guy coming from another team that you're trying to figure out who he is and what he does best, and then you got the other guy who's the incumbent who you don't want to give up on, and you at least want to see if he's showing signs of progress. I don't even know how you figure out whether he does, unless literally the act of just accuracy, no matter whether you're throwing against air or what. And that was the big rip the other day. There were 3 straight passes with no defense that were either into the ground or over the heads of the receivers, right? That involved, I think, J.J. McCarthy.
It did, yes.
Yeah.
That was the grumbling that Seifert brought up.
Yeah, that's the way it looks to me. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, again, it'll take a miracle or an injury for J.J. to start, right? Don't you think?
Yes.
I don't think there's any way around that. And that's probably as it should be at this point.
I think it is. I think that's fair.
The way it kind of has to be. I've got a Tom Pohlad follow-up for you when we come back.
Don't forget about the Miles sound if you want that.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I did tease it.
Segment, but we can get to. We have time.
We have time next segment because I think it's a good block of sound, kind of a national observations from in the case of Scalabrini, I think a really smart basketball analyst who, of course, did play the game, if that matters to you, and carved out a nice career and has gone on to even bigger and better things at this point. His observations, his musings, I guess you could say, of one Olivia Miles, I think will be of interest to you, too. And see, that's us talking about what?
The basketball.
The basketball.
On the court.
On the court. Competition. Performance. It's all there. You just have to be patient and wait for it.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan. The Fan. Every week.
When are our links back in action? You told me this. I asked you this yesterday. Is it tomorrow night or is it tonight?
I think it's the 6th.
That would be, what's tomorrow. Today? Today's the 5th, yeah. Okay.
Then Saturday, they have another noon high-profile game against Vegas.
Another national game, ABC?
House of Pain.
Vegas. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah,
here?
It's a great one. Yeah, it's here.
Massive.
I know. I'd have to try to go to that one, too.
That's a massive ball game. Oh, they're all big. Yep. Although we have a comfortable lead for the top seed, don't we? Isn't it like 4 or 5 games now?
Pulling up the standings, we are 3.5.
3.5.
Ahead.
How many in the loss column? That's all I care about.
3.
Ugh.
Aces and Valkyries.
Valkyries are third?
Yeah, they're tied with the Aces in terms of record, 21-9.
So the Liberty of falling off the edge of the cliff, right? Didn't they make a big deal? Didn't they just trade one of their best players?
They are 18-13.
Oh.
Did they trade somebody?
Who am I thinking of?
No, you're thinking, well, are you thinking of Kelsey Plum?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. She's out west now, isn't she?
Yeah, she's at Phoenix now.
Right? Yeah.
She was traded from L.A.
Oh, that's from L.A. That's
she
right.
Left
okay,
Vegas,
L.A. is what I was thinking of. Yeah.
If I remember right.
You're right.
I'm trying to remember.
In any case, the I can see for Miles story is getting national attention everywhere. Latest example offered up this morning, SiriusXM, the NBA channel, the highly controversial and popular morning show is hosted by another former Ink Stain Wretch, Frank Isola.
A former one-time guest on Bumper to Bumper.
Yeah, one time, and that's it. I think he would come on again.
Yeah. The guy who I can't find with a searchlight is Scal.
I think
I've tried a million.
I think Scal's close to impossible.
Yeah.
I literally don't think he comes on anything. But Scal, of course, former player.
Yep.
Now, big-time basketball analyst as well. And I think this starts with Frank first, is it not? Very briefly, and then
yes.
Depending on where you picked it up, and then it kind of riffs into, or it kind of becomes a Scalabrini riff from a basketball standpoint of what he thinks, in his mind, stands out about Olivia Miles, and he even broadens it out a little bit eventually. I don't know if this is part of the soundbite to men's players, women's players, etc. Let's listen.
I love Olivia Miles, though. She comes out there. It's like she came from her 9th grade study hall class. And she's like, well, I don't have my contacts, so I got to keep my glasses on. And she's just going out there killing people.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got like a little flair to her game. Like, she's got the look away passes, the little drop pass behind the back.
She processes the different layers of the defense, right? Like what's behind the person that's guarding her. And when she goes, just like Jalen Brunson, she's never like in space. She's always taking up the space. She's always using her footwork to get her foot past, so people are constantly on her shoulder. And that right there, it's like what we try to teach everybody. And you'd be surprised, Frank. Like you can try to teach that for years, and some people never get it. And for whatever reason, she has mastered it. And she's like, I mean, it's her first year in the W. Can you imagine if she continues to just refine that skill?
We interviewed her at the WNBA draft. She looks like a little kid, even in person. Am I allowed to like her as a player, or do I have to feel guilty about that? Because I know what the other player I like, I'm not really allowed to admit publicly I like her as a player. Can I do that with Olivia Miles? Is that okay?
But why wouldn't you be able to?
I don't know. I'm just... Everybody gets when I like Caitlin Clark, I was getting told why. People were telling me why I like her.
But you treat that like it's the norm. She's the exception. You're not allowed to like Caitlin Clark, but everybody else you can like.
I know. I like Olivia Miles.
She's the only one you're not allowed to like unless you know the history.
And I'm telling her right now, keep the glasses on. It's the whole thing works.
Phenomenal.
Right?
No, I would send clips of her to like the players that I coach, like men who are trying to go to college or maybe one day play professional. And I'm saying, look how she uses her body to seal off the defense as she's driving. Look how far the ball is away from the defense. It's nowhere near the defense. That defense, if they try to swipe, they're not going to get the ball. The ball is away from her body. Like she does everything perfect. I would be curious to wonder, like, who trained her to do that? Or is it something like she just figured it out? Or what happened? How is she able to do that where nobody else in the W can do it?
Good stuff. Scalabrini is really good about synthesizing and breaking stuff down in a way that I'm sure hardcore basketball people love because it's deep and technical.
Yep.
But that the average Rube, I think, can
it's for dummies
relate to as well, right? It's why he's so good at what he does. And we're seeing something that has a chance to be somebody who has a chance to be historic. Obviously, it's year one. There's a million factors that go into all of the fanfare she's received. But remember that in this case, I mean, she came in with a reputation as being a good prospect for sure. But nobody knew. Maybe a few people did, but nobody knew. And so what this is now is got nothing to do with hype. It's if the hype is getting maybe a little crazy, it's on the basis of what we've seen in performance. That's what I think makes this legit, more legit. It's not, well, what can she turn into? It's what she already is, and then what might be left, at that point. Because it's, as we said a couple days ago, it's not just flair, because that's a big part of it, and it's an interesting part of it. It's about how she matches that flair, correct?
Yes.
With plays that make a difference.
Her sense of timing and how she manipulates things, not just for the crazy stuff, which those are there's 3 or 4 times a game where she's doing something electric.
Correct.
A reverse layup or a no-look pass. We obviously talked about the between-the-legs pass on that broken play from a couple of games ago. But especially in person, like I mentioned at the Fever game, like I'm up in section 238, like row 60, as high as you can possibly get up. So you can see the all-22. You can see the whole floor. And just her subtleties of how she will manipulate something one way to give somebody an extra step where she can then, get past defender 1 or defender 2. Scalabrini just talked about the layers of the defense that she sees. It seems like she sees all of it, and she knows exactly how long to hold the dribble, how long to hold the pause, how long to, maybe if she has to go quicker to get somewhere. She can find a way to do it to just make something that was very difficult look really routine.
Yeah.
That's not flashy at all, but it's just how she can. The game is at her pace at all times. If she wants to go slow, it's going to go slow. If she wants to push it, she's going to push it. It's marvelous. It's marvelous to watch.
Do we know? So the glass, the what do we call them? I mean, the
goggles?
The goggles she wears. Those aren't just protective goggles, correct? Like there are some, like Kareem started wearing protective goggles because he got his eyes, scratched a cornea, I think. Might have been a basketball incident, I don't remember. And so he wore those for protection. So does she wear them? I should know this, but I don't. For protection, or is it literally, she got bad eyesight, and so these are corrective lenses in there?
Yes, that's what it is.
They are corrective lenses.
Yes.
Okay.
And
did she ever try contact lenses?
She said never felt the need to switch to contacts in a quick.
And now it's become a trademark. Now she would be foolish.
Yes.
To take them off. You go, what? No, the marketing people is out of your mind?
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
She can never cut her hair.
Choice.
She can't cut her hair.
That's true.
And she can't get rid of the goggles because all of it is part of the vibe. All of it is part of the brand. I was thinking about this, because people say, how did the Lynx get her at pick 2? We all know AZ Fudd is a good pro. She's a good player, right? But is this, and this might be PST at some point, but who did the Portland Trailblazers draft when Michael Jordan was available in 1984?
I think it was Drexler, wasn't it?
No, it was Sam Bowie.
Oh, Sam Bowie. What am I talking about?
But why did
they already had Clyde Drexler.
Exactly.
That was the point.
And that's why I was thinking about it, because
that's a good analogy.
They have Paige Beckers. So
good analogy.
It's defensible. And we all know, speaking of the other thing we can't talk about with WNBA, we all know that that AZ and Paige are involved. Okay?
But we don't know that they still are, but allegedly, they have been.
To quote Seinfeld, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Correct.
So there's that part of it, but it also is defensible in the fact that they had Paige Becker. Same reason why it was defensible that Gino Auriemma didn't recruit Caitlin Clark. That became a big story at the end of her Iowa career. It's like, can you believe Gino didn't recruit Caitlin? Well, he did recruit Paige the same year, and Paige was the #1 player in the country and the player of the year before she got hurt as a freshman, right? So all of it's defensible. Like, it was theoretically, I mean, you would remember this better than me, theoretically defensible for Portland to not take Michael Jordan because they had Clyde Drexler.
Nobody other than maybe Bob Knight, no matter what is said after the fact, understood how good Michael Jordan was going to be. Yes. And then the game was still more a front court game. Sam Bowie. If he stays healthy, he could be your starting center for 15 years. Now, of course, he couldn't stay healthy.
Right, but if you have a guy in that position, like Drexler's a Hall of Famer. Drexler was on the Dream Team. Drexler was tremendous. But I was thinking about that as just the luck of the draw that Dallas wins the lottery. First of all, the trade, which now is a slam dunk win, right? The whole the Angel Reese trade from a few years ago.
That has been the worm turned on that deal. Because a long time it was, well, who just you drafted? You don't even have her anymore. And you could have had our gal
Angel
to
Reese.
Rebound.
And so you've got that. And so I was thinking about that the other day because just the fortune, to make the trade, to fight through it while it wasn't looking your way, to have the luck of Chicago getting the #2 overall pick and then having everything with Dallas to take AZ Fudd. And here comes Olivia Miles, who I think today was named the Rookie of the Month again for the WNBA. That's 3 months and 3 awards. She's probably going to sweep the thing and be a first-team All-WNBA player. But
here's my question
pretty amazing
on Miles. Did Gino not recruiter? So she was at Notre Dame and then TCU, correct? She finished at TCU?
Correct. Yep.
Had what would be classified as a good, but not, I mean
she was pretty
world-class college career, correct? That's that's the fascinating thing. And it's not unprecedented. We see it in basketball, men or women, where somebody is good in college. Well, I mean, again, Jordan's the best example, and he's the outlier, obviously. But I look at, again, this is easy to say now, but I'm here to tell you that I don't care if you have Paige Beckers. If I can get another player who can handle the ball and score like this, I'm drafting her. Because one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to have the best ball handling backcourt in history, where you go, they're both capable of playing with the ball, they're both capable of playing without it. Or eventually you go, Paige, we love you, but it might be time to return to Minnesota. Right? I mean, think of it that way. If Dallas had drafted Miles, anyway, said no matter that we have Paige Beckers, and she comes in and dominates the same way. Now, maybe by definition she wouldn't have, because she wouldn't have the ball in her hand as much. As the consolation prize, maybe Paige, we get Paige Beckers on the rebound. She comes here, right? That wouldn't be the worst thing.
That would have been possible.
Yeah.
Gino did recruit her. They were a finalist for Olivia Miles, but she picked Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And Nicole Ivey.
Have those who ripped the trade that allowed the Lynx to get Miles made their public apologies? Well, you're talking directly to Dan Minnesota there.
That's right.
I mean, I'll let him speak for himself on that. LaMelo's cars, cannabis czar, Gerby is at a bar, Wolves and 5. Our text from 612 guy or gal, the only ones you read or the only ones you get. I don't know, it's just been, it runs in cycles sometimes, which ones we read from. 612 guy, Olivia Miles is far superior to Paige Beckers. Well,
I'd be careful with that.
I don't know if I necessarily have to feel obligated to get into that. By the way, it's a topic that the WNBA should love and welcome, but they fear it, right? We don't do stuff like that. We're not going to do anything to put one of our star players down in that way, even though it's just opinion. And all it does is it drives interest. It drives the debate. And I love, we both love Paige Beckers.
Of course.
There's no question about that.
For 15 years, it was, are you a Kobe or LeBron guy?
But here's the difference. Well, this isn't even a fair difference, because I was about to say Beckers, her first year, didn't have the impact Miles had. Now, but Miles came to a better infrastructure.
100%.
You got to factor that in.
Yes.
That's why, same thing with the people who were ripping Clark, like, well, what did she do right off the bat in terms of what her team did? Like, well, what did she inherit? They were one of the worst teams in basketball history, right, before she got there. So, but these sorts of, all of this is good, again, for the league. The greater star power you get, the more depth in that regard you get. These sorts of debates go on all the time in the NBA, right? And some of them are mindless and some of them are silly, you'd say, but they drive casual interest. Well, let's do some compare and contrast of, what does Paige Beckers do well, what Olivia Miles does well. But, yeah, I mean, it's stating the obvious at this point. She's very much in the Hall of Fame. Well, that may be Freudian, but it's certainly the MVP race. I think she's got to be top 3. I don't know what the odds makers have on that yet, but she's got to be right there.
Yeah, she is.
For sure at this point.
So when I was coaching basketball, I had John Creasel come talk to our team.
Yes.
About, all of his experiences. It was awesome. And I'm bringing this up because at the end, the kids had an opportunity to ask Creasel some questions. And they asked some really good questions. And then one of the smartasses on our team put up his hand and said, Kobe or LeBron. Like, that's what we're talking about right here, like with Paige and with Miles.
Exactly.
Because for 10 years, that was the thing. Now you do it with LeBron or Jordan. Like, we all do that for everything. But those were two guys in the same generation, essentially. Kobe was a little bit older, obviously. But that were the faces of the league. And it was not only okay to make those comparisons and talk about it and debate about it, but it was the bit.
Celebrated.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
And it always cracks me up. But that was, so for a 15-year-old, he's probably younger, to ask a war hero, Kobe or LeBron, made perfect sense to him. Because that's what everybody was talking about at the time.
Do you agree with this? This is from 701 guy, so I'm out of 612. You did a good job of clarifying that you were not looking to debate the issue of fairness or that you were trying to pick a side. No, I have picked a side. Certainly at the professional level, I don't think biological men should participate in women's sports. And that doesn't give license to, I think, endorsing the concept of discriminating in a more general way, but there is a fairness issue that I think is impossible to ignore. Somebody had texted a little bit earlier, again, to the point we were making. In fact, I think this may have been the first individual well-known individual from the left that we quoted on this issue, Martina. Right? Martina Navratilova is not ever going to be mistaken for MAGA, politically speaking. Correct. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
If that matters to you, if that's the dividing point, and for her, it's an issue of fairness in competition, correct? Yes. As simple as that. It doesn't go any further than that. Knowing, and I think she acknowledges, it's tricky because you could argue it does potentially come at a cost here. But that there is that above all else needs to be what is sort of encouraged or held onto. And where did the rest of that text go? Here it is. Hold on. See if you agree with this. You're making a point about Cunningham's reaction, having to answer comments she made. My point is there are plenty of examples of people, Reeves, Kerr, Popovich, even the WNBA as a whole, e.g. Breonna Taylor, who take strong positions and have no problem defending them. It seems to me when a right-leaning player makes outspoken comments, they tend to resent having to answer questions about it. And then underneath that is why someone would knowingly choose to make such a rare situation one of the central parts of their public persona. Do you think that's true? Do you think, I guess I would ask 701 guy or gal, give me another player in that position who's quote-unquote right-leaning. Look, the truth is, many of those on the other side of this also eventually say, I don't know why I keep getting asked this. So I'm not sure I buy that there's one side of the political aisle that tends to be more resentful for asking it. And the rareness of it has never been a good argument for me. We hear that a lot, but it doesn't answer the question. You have to deal with the question. You can talk around it all you want, but in the end, you got to get to it. And so, to me, you're just deflecting if you do it. Well, how many examples do we really have of players who biologically, female players having to deal with competing against a biological male? It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 5 million. There's a reason, like I said, at the highest levels, there are, whether you agree with them or not, I think rules in place on that particular issue. Any more quarterback updates?
JJ did have a response.
Oh, you mean verbal?
No.
Oh, I thought maybe he said. So, somebody yesterday, I meant to get to this with Alec Lewis, and I believe I saw somebody talk about this on air. Man, that was on air, maybe even in print or via tweet, that after one of McCarthy's worst throws yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that there was somebody in the stands on him in a really obnoxious way to a point where KOC looked in direction.
JJ too.
Did you hear that or read that too?
I read that as well, yeah.
Somewhere,
and Justin Jefferson did as well.
So do we know what was said? Was it like over the line or just said you suck? Or
I don't know. Yeah, I just know that they were on him.
They were not pleased, apparently.
Will Raggets talked about Kyler's oohs and ahs throws. J.J. McCarthy responded with a nice deep ball to Ty Felton down the seam. He had them both at 3 for 6 and 7-on-7. Couple good throws each. Highlight was a Murray deep post to Jawan Jennings for a touchdown. We talked about that. Let me see. There was one more here. Justin Jefferson absolutely mosses Theo Jackson and Isaiah Rodgers on a pass from Murray in a situational drill. Special stuff from 18.
Say that one again?
Justin Jefferson absolutely mosses Theo Jackson and Isaiah Rodgers on a pass from Murray in a situational drill. Special stuff from 18. So another good pass
Who
from Murray.
tweeted that?
Will.
That was Will again? Okay.
Yep. He also adds that several deep balls from Kyler Murray are the big story today. He also showed off his legs a few times.
Okay. Be careful on the legs thing.
That's good life advice.
We got people on this station, I think it wants them to run the option, for God's sake. Okay. Be careful what you wish for, man. I'm going to tell you. Because after the third 20-yard run where you're aroused by it, he didn't get out of bounds quick enough, he's going to get his head taken off.
Micah Parsons kills him.
Just saying. I'm just saying. It shouldn't be all that difficult. Where are we? Oh, we're already at the top of the, about to begin the top of the 5 o'clock hour. So let's do this. We'll get a pause in. We do have Kessler. It's a Talker Tuesday on a Wednesday, but Kessler is in beginning at 5:30 this evening. Lots to get to. So there was a series of debates today up north. Is that correct?
Yeah, Farm Fest, I think.
Okay.
Not Farm Aid. That was at Huntington Bank Stadium.
Republicans and Dems?
I don't know.
Was my pillow guy there?
I don't know.
Well, Kessler will know all this.
Yeah, Kloby was there. Tafoya was there.
Okay.
Royce was there. I don't know who else was there. But yeah, I'm sure that will come up.
What do we have for top five?
We've got a Twins update to get to, and I found some sound that has me waxing nostalgia for a simpler time with college football right around the corner.
This is Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800